presentation has been created to help us fully understand what climate graphs show and how best to write top interpretation answers. There are some students who will help us to work out what the different parts mean. Remember, pause the show as you go along and make some notes. On the screen we have some key words that we need to understand. These are set out like revision cards. The first definition is temperature.
Temperature is the measure of how hot or cold the atmosphere is.
Precipitation is rain, sleet, hail or snow that falls to the ground.
A climate is the average expected weather conditions of an atmosphere in a place.
Climate data is usually based on data that's been collected for well over 30 years. Pause the show now to make sure you understand these definitions before moving on. Weather and climate reports are generally made from precipitation and temperature readings. We can see a Stevenson screen on the left, which houses normally 2 thermometers measuring daily highs and lows of the heat within the atmosphere. They're normally the same size and shape around the world. They have louvered windows to stop the wind affecting the temperature measurements. Temperature is recorded using a thermometer.
A thermometer is an instrument that shows the change in air temperature by the liquid either expanding as it becomes warmer or contracting as the air cools.
Pause the show and make sure you fully understand how a thermometer works before moving on. We can see on the screen a set of bottles, each representing different months of the year. At each day, at a set time, the amount of precipitation that's fallen is carefully measured. At the end of the month, the total amount will be recorded and then presented as a bar chart.
Rainfall data is collected by using a rain gauge, which captures the daily falling precipitation for measurement.
Make sure you know how rainfall data is collected before moving on.
An important skill in geography is to be able to interpret climate graphs and describe what they show. When looking at these graphs, we think about the acronym T, which means that we should look for trends, evidence and any anomalies that may be seen. Before you start, always take care and double check the axis names, scale values. Remember the line graph shows average temperature with the graph on the screen. This is the scale on the left. Rainfall is shown as a bar chart here in blue with the rainfall scale shown on the right of the chart. The bar sizes are based upon the continuous data collected each month from measuring the amount of rainfall each month.
Before we interpret the temperature data, remember to check where the temperature axis is, and that here it will read from left to right. The overall pattern or trend shows that the temperature, shown as the red line, is the coolest in the winter around February and at its warmest during the summer months. We can see that the lowest temperature is 3 degrees in February and the hottest average temperature is 17 degrees in July. Another important skill is to work out the temperature range. This is the difference between the coldest and hottest temperatures. Here, the range is 14 degrees. Pause the show and check that you understand how to interpret temperature before moving on.
Before looking at the rainfall, double check which axis refers to rainfall and look at the scale it shows. Here the rainfall axis is on the right of the graph. The trend for the rainfall here is very similar to the temperature, with it raining all year but being drier in the winter and slightly wetter in the summer months. As we see, the smallest blue bar, which shows the lowest rainfall, is 30 millimetres in February, whilst the wettest month is just twice that, with 62 millimetres in July. The total amount of rainfall for the year is calculated by adding up every month's results together. This comes to 558 millimetres for the year. The average is 46.5 millimetres. This is found by dividing the total rainfall by 12 because there are 12 months in a year.
This concludes the revision show from your fellow pupils Bonnie, Caitlin and Sophie, all about interpreting climate graphs. Replay parts if you're unsure of anything. Thank you for listening.